Hi, I'm Sean Elliott. During the program, we're going to be taking you on a tour of the Galapagos Islands, Ecuador, and showing you the incredible wildlife it has to offer both above and below the water. The Galapagos is one of the great dive meccas of the world. There is nowhere else like it. Where else could you watch a penguin and a tropical angelfish all in the same dive? The waters here are teeming with marine life. You're not sure if you should watch the huge schools of fish, the awe-inspiring eagle rays, the endless amounts of green sea turtles, or keep your eyes open for hammerheads, white tips, or the sleek lines of the Galapagos shark. There are many ways to plan your holiday to the Galapagos Islands. You can either do it at home, which is the easier but more expensive option, or you can fly to the island of Santa Cruz and come to the town of Puerto Ayora. The Galapagos sits right on the equator, approximately 1,000 kilometers west of Ecuador, and is one of Ecuador's 21 provinces. There are 13 major islands with only 5 of them inhabited. To get to the Galapagos, the easiest and quickest option is to fly from Quito, the capital of Ecuador, to Baltra. Don't forget to bring $100 cash to pay the park entry fee on landing. You can then travel by bus to Puerto Ayora. Puerto Ayora is the main tourism center in the Galapagos Islands. Here you'll find plenty of dive schools and tour operators. And if you're willing to shop around and be flexible with your plans, you can get some great deals on diving and boat tours, especially in low season, with some people reporting last-minute half-price fares. While on Santa Cruz, a great day trip is to head to the Charles Darwin Research Center. The center was founded in 1959 to conduct scientific work and environmental education for conservation. Entry is free as the center receives a large percentage of the park entry fee. However, donations are appreciated. The center is the only place you can see the famous giant tortoise because it is not permitted to visit them in the wild. These giant tortoises can weigh in excess of 250 kilograms and have shells of up to 150 centimeters long. Due to years of isolation, they have evolved into 15 subspecies with slightly different characteristics. By the 1970s, only 11 of the subspecies still existed, and these 11 species were all endangered. Since then, captive breeding at the center has brought 10 of the species up to safe levels. The 11th has not been able to be saved from extinction, as only one male is left. From the dive shops here, you can reach most of the dive sites in the Galapagos Islands. Prices aren't cheap at $50 to $60 per tank, but this includes your equipment. You will get a slight discount if you bring your own. Boats leave every morning and include your guide, your boat, and your lunch. An easy way to start your dive holiday is with a day trip to Seymour Channel. It is quick and easy to reach, but still offers some of the best diving in the Galapagos. It is a shallow dive, but expect strong currents from start to finish. Although the currents can get a little tiring, it has attracted some spectacular schools of fish. The schools often have several different types of fish present, all balling up together to feed on passing food whilst trying to avoid being eaten by the always present white-tipped sharks and sea lions. As you swim through the schools, you will come face to face with some of the largest porcupine fish in the area. The Galapagos Islands are well known for their deep dives and strong unpredictable currents, so if you haven't got much experience or haven't dived in the past 6 months, it's a good idea to do a refresher course at your local dive school. First, your instructor will go over the dive theory with you and assess what topics you need to revise. If there is anything you're rusty on, like dive tables, your instructor will clearly explain it to you. After covering the theory, your instructor will make sure you still remember how to put your equipment together. You will then discuss your dive plan and what skills you are going to perform. Before entering the water, he will do a buddy check with you, then make sure everything is adjusted and working properly. In shallow water, you will practice important skills like regulator recovery. If you have any difficulties, your instructor will assist you until you perform the skill correctly. After mastering the skills, you will continue with your planned dive. By making sure you're up to date on your dive theory and skills before getting to the Galapagos, it will make the experience much more relaxing, enjoyable, and safe. It is law in the Galapagos that all divers be led by specially trained Galapagos guides. They are there to show you the best locations and assist you if you have any problems. Relax, don't touch or harass the marine life, just drift by and enjoy the spectacle. If you ask someone what was their favourite dive here, there's a good chance they'll say Gordon Rocks. One of the big draw cards here is the sheer amount of green sea turtles. You'll probably see turtles on every dive in the Galapagos, but nowhere else will you see so many in one spot. Green sea turtles are the second largest turtles in the world and the most common out of the 4 species found in the Galapagos. Around the world, turtles are unfortunately becoming rarer due to illegal fishing, egg poaching, and getting caught in nets. The conservation efforts in the Galapagos have stopped this illegal activity, making this the largest breeding ground for green sea turtles in the world. It can be tempting sometimes to reach out and touch them, but please don't, as you will scare them and can easily hurt them. Remember, as with everything down here, look, don't touch. Another good reason to dive Gordon Rocks is a chance to see schooling hammerheads. Their size and reputation can make most people nervous, but the truth is they are harmless, beautiful, and very timid. They are much more scared of you than you are of them. This site is just packed full of different species of marine life. Here you have a good chance of seeing everything the Galapagos has to offer. Large green moray eels in the walls, eagle rays floating by, stingrays sleeping on the rocks, and spectacular schools of fish. While waiting on your safety stop, you can just watch the fish cruising by.
Another option is to go on a liveaboard. This enables you to have much more relaxed diving and gives you the opportunity to see the other islands. Prices vary greatly depending on the type of boat and how many dives you want to do, ranging from $70 all the way up to $400 per day.
The most common trip is 6 days long and leaves Thursday or Sunday afternoons. The first evening you'll meet your guide and then be shown around the boat, given your room, and will get to make some new friends.
One of the best things about the liveaboards in the Galapagos is they cater for non-divers and divers alike. All trips are a combination of diving and land-based tours. This is great if you have some non-divers in your group, or just a great way of you splitting up your day and getting to see what the Galapagos has to offer both above and below the waves.
On the first night you will travel to the red sandy shores of Rabida. During the morning your guide will show you around the island, explaining its history, geology, flora and fauna. This is your first chance to get up close and personal with the curious sea lions and lazy iguanas. Remember to obey the rules of the Galapagos. Stay with your guide, walk only on designated tracks, and never touch any of the animals. After Rabida, you will head to a beautiful protected bay on Santiago Island to have lunch and to snorkel with the sea lions. If you are lucky, you may find a female in a particularly playful mood that will follow you around and pull on your fins to get your attention. In the shallows, you'll also find white-tipped sharks cruising for dinner and stingrays. This bay contains 2 sea lion colonies that just love to play with snorkelers. The female sea lions will come flying by at you and snort bubbles, but it is recommended that you stay away from pups and the male bull, as he can get quite protective. Sea lions can be seen throughout the islands. They are very inquisitive on land and in the water, and their ability to swim makes them fascinating to watch. If you come around November, you'll have the chance to see many newborn pups. In each colony you'll find one large male bull that can grow up to 2 meters and weigh over 350 kilograms. He will fight to control a harem of 5 to 25 cows. Cows will give birth to 1 pup at a time. Strangely, pups do not naturally know how to swim or hunt and will need to be taught by their mothers. Pups can spend up to 3 years with their mothers and have such a strong bond that they can tell the sound of each other's bark over the chorus of the rest of the colony. The volcanic area of this island is quite interesting, as you can still see the canals that were made when the molten lava flowed towards the sea. Waking up on day 2 presents you with the opportunity of diving Bartolomé Bay. This is a relaxing dive varying from steep walls to shallow sand flats. Schools of fish can be seen everywhere during the dive, which could explain why it attracts so many white-tipped sharks. Approach sheltered sand patches slowly to find sleepy white-tips resting on the bottom. White-tips are very docile, but like most species of shark, they are scared off easily. If you do scare them off, just lay quietly where you are, as usually they will return when they realize you are not a threat. In the shallows you'll also find plenty of starfish and different types of reef fish. The walk to the lookout at Bartolomé is definitely worth the effort. On the way up you can enjoy the strange lunar landscapes that have formed here. To help stop erosion and damage, they have installed timber platforms and steps all the way to the top. Please help save the delicate environment and your guide's sanity by sticking to the paths. On the west side of Bartolomé is this quiet bay. If you look in the water you'll see white tips patrolling the shallows, and if you are lucky enough to be here when the turtles are mating and nesting, it will be an experience you won't forget. Females will mate with several males before pulling themselves up the beach and digging a hole to lay their eggs in. This is their most vulnerable time to predators, on land and even in the water, because when they return to the sea, they will be exhausted. To protect the breeding turtles, swimming on the west side is prohibited. However, on the east side it is allowed, and is the best spot to snorkel with Galapagos penguins, which are the second smallest in the world. Get up early on day 3, because the earlier you dive North Seymour, the more eagle rays you'll see. Spotted eagle rays are part of the same family as sharks and other rays like stingrays. Unlike bony fish, sharks and rays do not have scales, have multiple gills, and have cartilage, not bones. Eagle rays can grow up to 2.4 meters in width, with the average size you'll see here being between 1.5 and 2 meters, and weighing approximately 70 kilograms. Stingrays are also very common here. You'll find them sitting in the sand patches feeding or laying around on the top of the rocks. Stingrays, like sharks, have got a completely ridiculous reputation as being dangerous. They do have a barb on their tail, but will not just swim at you and attack you with it. It's used only for self-defense, and the only way for you to get stung is for you to kick or hit the stingray. While you wait in Boltra for the boat to get supplies, you can enjoy feeding the lunch scraps to eager pelicans and frigates. Just south of Boltra you can walk along this beautiful white beach, which could easily be mistaken for the Caribbean. Day 4 brings an early morning walk at Plaza, on the east side of Santa Cruz. This barren rocky area is covered with large cactus and colourful small shrubs. There are many land iguanas in the area, and it's a great place to watch them sunbake and see the males trying to impress the females. Iguanas are vegetarians, unlike most lizards, and the land iguanas here feed mainly on prickly pear cactus. The cactus not only gives them food, but also provides them with enough water to be able to go a year without fresh water. Both the land iguanas and marine iguanas in the Galapagos grow to around 1 meter in length. Views here of the coast are impressive, and the bulls will enjoy the view with you, but remember to keep your distance, especially if there's babies around. By now I was accustomed to seeing large schools of fish, but diving at Santa Fe brought a whole new meaning to the word. Yellow puffers were hiding in the cracks as I cruised along the barnacle-covered rock formations. As the dive proceeded, it didn't matter if I looked up, down or side to side, there were fish coming from everywhere. When I thought it couldn't get any better, we came across the largest school of fish I have ever seen. The school must have been 100 meters long, 18 meters high and 30 meters deep. It was truly amazing to swim through a wall of fish that just slowly moved out of your way as you swam through them. It felt like it would never end. This was definitely one of the highlights of the trip. After a long night of rolling seas, you wake up on day 5 to Espanola Island. This is easily the longest walk on the tour, but is very rewarding. First you'll walk amongst the now familiar sea lions. Remember not to get between the bulls and the young ones, as they will be quick to protect their young. You will see marine iguanas sunbathing everywhere, and if you watch the shoreline you'll catch the occasional one swimming. Further on you'll come across Galapagos hawks and nesting boobies, looking after their chicks amongst the iguanas. This is a place to spot one of the largest birds in the world, the albatross. If you're lucky you'll find their huge chicks on the top of the cliffs waiting for mum to come back with lunch. Gardner Bay on the east coast of Espanola is the premier night dive in the Galapagos Islands. The dive is shallow at an average depth of 12 meters and is mainly just a sand bottom, but the reason divers flock here is to see the very rarely seen batfish. These very strange looking fish are hard to find in most places, but here at night you'll find dozens of them hopping around. Another strange looking fish you can see here is the flying gurnard with its fluorescent wingtips. Night diving is very different than during the day and can be very exciting and rewarding. But make sure you get proper training from a qualified instructor, on night dive techniques before doing any night dives. This porcupine fish was carelessly harassed by a local dive master. Although spectacular to see, it is not good diving behaviour to harass marine life and is also illegal. At night, look around for feeding moray eels, as this is your best chance to see them swimming freely and not hiding in the reef. Make sure you have an early night on day 5, because the last morning of the trip has an early dive that can't be missed. Floriana is a great place for some big fish action, with large marbled stingrays cruising along the bottom and hammerheads sailing overhead. This is the spot to see the sleek and beautiful lines of the Galapagos shark. Galapagos sharks are considered dangerous and can grow up to 3.7 meters in length, but from my experience they are one of the shyest and therefore hardest sharks to get close to. I was lucky enough to see a school of at least 20 large Galapagos sharks. Up shallower, the action continues with moray eels, white-tip sharks, and the always present green sea turtles. After breakfast, it's time for the last land excursion. The island of Floriana is quite different from the previous islands. In the centre of the island is a large lake area that supports flocks of pink flamingos. The abundant shrimp in this shallow, swampy water provides these magnificent birds with plenty of food and keeps the striking pink coloration in their feathers. You can stop at several locations on the walk to view these beautiful birds feeding. After enjoying a large farewell lunch, it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the cruise back to Puerto Ayora.
The Galapagos, with its huge schools of fish, hammerheads, rays, turtles and sea lions, has some of the world's most amazing diving to offer. Add the animals and the volcanic landscapes, and you have a great place to visit and to dive.
For more information on the Galapagos and other underwater destinations, visit our website at www.uwd5.com.